All right, my man Mike, I see you got a different background there. What's going on with you?
Nothing much, man. Just doing a little traveling. You know what I mean? Finally got my Amazon automation store set up, man. It was a pain in the ass. There's a lot of moving pieces. But what is crazy is in 2 days, I've sold over $3,000 worth of inventory. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how the rest of the year plays out. It was a pain in the ass, but we're gonna see how that goes. And then, I got another hotel under contract, right? Me and my partner's got another hotel under contract finally, real good one. We're looking at a hotel in Costa Rica. If we can snatch that bad boy up, we have to do at least a site visit. You know what I mean? We got to at least go do due diligence, before we put in the offer or whatever. But yeah, man, things are going good. Obviously, the team is kicking it up here. Charlotte's rocking, Fayetteville's rocking. So things are going good, man. What about yourself?
Yeah, when you get that one in Costa Rica as well, or you say Costa Rica or Puerto Rico?
No, Costa Rica. Yeah, we're gonna do all kind of mastermind events,
Exactly. I was about
team
to say
building events,
you're going to need some friends, right, to test
corporate
out the
retreats.
system, to go
Yeah.
in there and then to go in there and just make sure the employees are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like just, what do they call those secret visitors or secret
Secret shoppers.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
going to one of those
yeah.
scenarios, and I got a person in mind. His name is Dan and family. So,
I got you, man. Yeah,
yeah.
I would love to own like a destination style resort hotel, something like that. But for that exact reason, though, right? To rent it out to friends and family, to do all the corporate retreats, team building events. I think that would be it would be like a vacation rental, but on steroids. Do you know what I mean? Instead of it just being a beach house, it's a hotel in Costa Rica, right? So we'll see how it plays out. But in an ideal world, that would be something that we buy.
Yeah, that'll be dope, man. That'll be dope. Well, me and the wife, we're just hanging out, man. We're in Jacksonville right now, trying to help out doing some few things with our parents. And other than that, man, we got the real estate licenses, and we're fully on board finally. So we're looking at some properties on the MLS, trying to figure out what the next thing that we're gonna do. And that's pretty much it, man. We're pretty much low key right now, so it's good stuff. It's settling into that battle rhythm, getting the kids situated, back in school and everything. So it's just pretty chill right now. It's pretty free flowing. So, and I'm enjoying it, man. I'm really, really, really enjoying just kind of I guess just kind of hanging with the family, man.
Yeah, because it's been a hell of a sprint for both of you. Both of you guys were deployed for quite some time. Then you PCSed right when you got back. So it's been a hell of a sprint, man.
Yeah, so it's fun times, fun times. Hey, but we got a sweet guest today, Mr. Charles. Hit him with the baseball bat. If you don't pay me my money back, McEntee. Charles the loan shark. No, we're just kidding. So he talks about a lot of awesome stuff. We go into mindset. We also go into how he started acquiring his deals while he was still a private, right, and then pushing out. Now he's working on his fifth property. He's doing deals overseas, and just awesome stuff. Just a perfect example of growing wealth within the military. It's just awesome to see. So I think this is going to be a great episode. You're going to find a lot of value in it. So
Yeah, and since back in his loan shark days, since he got in so much trouble, he changed his. He says he likes to go by Simon. He was like, "Don't call me Charles, call me Simon." But what he does do is he talks a lot about how his childhood influenced his financial decisions, which I think is amazing. He talks about his slow progress that. I mean, he's only been in the military for 7 years and he's about to replace his entire military paycheck, which is so powerful. And then he talks about he intends to stay in the military, right? And also there's a fun little quip, I guess, about the three little pigs that Dan throws out, because he has his brothers over there, his brother and his brother-in-law, and all of them are doing their own thing. One's renting, one's house hacking, and then one's buying, which is obviously going to be Simon, right? So we got a lot of good nuggets here in this episode. I'm excited to jump right into it. So without further ado, let's get to it.
hey, what's going on, Military Cashflow family? Today we got Simon McEntee on, and he is all the way from Korea. He's stationed out there in Korea doing great things. And he is in the Facebook group, Military Cashflow Facebook group. We've seen him posting, and I've seen him post about from his first deal, right? From asking questions about his first deal all the way to, hey, now I'm closing on my second, or I think maybe your third property, maybe. So let's dive into that, man. Please, Simon, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're at, where you're from, and what you're doing.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thank you for having me here. Um, I was born in the Philippines, and then I went to Saipan. It's a Northern Mariana Island to go to high school. That's kind of when my journey begins, I guess. I've always been told I've been good with money. I've always tried to figure out ways to make money. So after high school, I joined the military and was stationed in Fort Campbell. And I saw an opportunity with the BAH and just all the other stuff that was given to us already. So I decided to get a house below the BAH. So use that money to get my first car and pay my phone, all the bills. So all my actual income isn't being charged. And then when I PCS to Lewis, that's when I bought my first house, and then kind of snowballed from there. Now I'm on my fourth, looking for my fifth.
Man, fourth, looking for the fifth. Let me ask you something, man. Were you the first one in your family to join the military?
Actually, no. My brother joined about a year before me. He graduated high school. He joined right out of high school. So when I graduated, figured it's easy.
Okay, so you already had like a little bit of an insight to seeing your brother go through it before. Okay.
Following the footsteps, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, so so you started out at Fort Campbell, right? One thing I noticed in your bio, right? You mentioned that you're trying to achieve financial independence through real estate, right? Where did you learn about FI, and why did you choose real estate as your vehicle to try to attain FI?
I think real estate is pretty simple, something that most people don't have to reinvent, to kind of learn. And like you said, people like you guys doing bigger and greater things are leaving breadcrumbs for us to follow. So figured it's easy enough. And after listening to podcasts such as Military Cashflow, it just gets easier and easier. And now I'm just all in on it.
Nice.
Well, you say it's easy, or it's a simple method to follow, and so you started looking into it. But before that, you said that you were always good with money. What did that conversation of money look like for you as a child? Why are you, I guess so, I don't even know the right word, inept at money? Why has money come so easy to you? Yeah, savvy. Savvy is a good word. I like that one.
I don't know. I'm not really one to like buy expensive stuff, but I'm just into like making my money work for me. So I don't know if I should say this, but I used to do a little loan shark when I was in high school. That's actually how I started. I got a couple of $100 and I find people who need help. For me, I thought I was giving them an opportunity at the same time benefiting myself. I never force anybody. So if somebody comes to me saying, hey, I need a little help, I say, hey, I have a little extra money. And then I saw the potential and I just started snowballing. And next thing I know, it was huge. So when I joined the Army, I tried to
go ahead.
When I joined the Army, I tried to look for the same opportunity. And Army actually provides so much things that soldiers just either don't know or just don't want to use. And I keep telling everybody, just use these benefits because it's just there sitting, waiting for you.
Yeah, we got to touch on that because I love what you just said there, talking about the different services and opportunities that the military has for people that are trying to build wealth, right? And for some reason, it's just not. For some reason, we don't really take it. Everyone doesn't take advantage of those, which is kind of wild. So I'd love for you to shine a light on that. But before you do that, when you're talking about you being a little loan shark, I just want to share something. I had a picture and a vision in my mind, like you're down there in the Philippines, you're lending out money, and then somebody doesn't pay, and you're like, "Hey, man, where's my money?" Yeah. That's Stewie Griffin. Hey, where's my money, man? Where's my money, man?
Actually, I found a great tool when it comes to those people who can't pay. So instead of not,
a bat,
instead of being upset, I figured out a way to make it work for me and that person. So instead of them not being able to pay, I say, hey, let me give you some money and we just restart your whole loan. So I just have them for longer and I recoup all the interest already and I just restarted the whole loan. So instead of being upset, I was like, oh, I can just keep doing this. I don't need the money anyway. I'll just have you for longer, kind of like the bank refinancing, and it's just simple.
That ain't bad. So while we're on this topic, I mean, I know this conversation is more about real estate, but I am kind of curious. How did you, and you may not want to go into all the detail, but how did you enforce the payment? You know what I'm saying? How did you protect yourself, essentially, is what I'm asking.
Well, so obviously, there's no easy way, but I went through the person that I know, I trust, and then I just based off of their word, I say, hey, if you know somebody who needs, I'm willing to help. You know, I have the capability, but it's between you and me. You're pretty much sticking out your head for that person. So chances are they're not gonna want to screw their friend who was trying to help them. So that's how I did it. Yep.
I like it. And that's smart because, you know, as we all kind of are growing into ourselves as entrepreneurs, as financiers, as whatever the case may be, we're trying to find ways to hedge against risk. And I do like what you said there. You just found an opportunity to truly help the people that you liked and trusted. It wasn't like you were just throwing money out into the wind for anybody who came up to you. And so with that relationship came a little bit more security, came a little bit more of that personal guarantee from the other individual because they didn't want to burn that bridge as well. So, okay. All right. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So going back to some of those services that the Army provides, right, that someone can easily take advantage of now. What are some of the things that you used, and what are some of the things that you recommend to other service members out there?
Well, before the housing, TA, obviously, I'm doing TA right now. People,
TA.
I know in tuition assistant, you know, in combat arms, I have to say, like, it was really tough. But since I reclassed, I found time to use my TA. So that's another one. But as far as real estate and money, you know, soldiers always say they don't have money or they can't start real estate. But I started as a private, you know, in my second duty station. And I didn't even know about the VA. I saw Bigger Pockets, probably like everybody else. I saw Brandon Turner talking about it. So I was like, you know what? Because my brother-in-law, and we all got stationed in Lewis at the same time. What? My brother chose to live on post. My brother-in-law chose to rent. I chose to buy a house. So nice. I was like, I'm gonna figure out a way to get some of my BH back and pay less than what they're renting for. So kind of worked out, sold it the next year after holding it for a year, made $15K for pretty much free money, and then just use that to buy, you know, my other properties.
Are both your brothers in the military?
My brother and brother-in-law. Yeah.
Oh, brother-in-law. Okay.
That's awesome. You guys had like a Three Little Piggy situation going on there, right?
Yeah.
Like,
it was pretty awesome in Lewis.
Yeah. And you was building the brick house. You was over there too. I like that.
Seriously, I love that. And that's almost like an awesome case study too, like how that can work. You know, you can choose to live on post, off post, and then what happens when you choose to buy. So that's pretty awesome. So good.
And that's the great thing about the Army. You know, it's really hard to make excuses because everybody gets the same thing. We all get the same cards. Like, I know how much you make. You know how much I make. Yes. I know what resources you have. Like, if you say, if people say, oh, it's because of I'm gonna live on post because it's convenient. I'm like, I live here. I know what the drive look like. It's not that convenient. It's not that much convenient. You know, for hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can't drive 5 minutes extra. Like, come on.
You know, that's actually the first time I've heard it phrased that way. It's hard to make an excuse in the military because we all make the same. So why can you why are you on your fourth property, right? Why does Dan have what he has? Why was I able to do whatever? Is we all see what we're all paid. It's not like you got to do something else. I really like that. That's good stuff.
Yep.
Love it, man. So let's talk about some of these deals, right? So you're at your second duty station. I think you said you're at your second duty station. Where was that?
In Fort Lewis.
Okay. So you're in Fort Lewis and you chose to buy, right? What did that first deal look like? I mean, where did you start off? I know you said you listened to a little bit of Bigger Pockets, but at some point you had to really dive in, right? And start learning a little bit more. So what did that look like for you, and how was that deal structured?
So, in the Bigger Pockets, Brandon Turner says, hey, don't buy the most expensive house. Just go to the location that you want, focus on it, know the market, and then buy the least expensive that you can later fix. So I just started driving every road, and I found this property. And then the good thing about real estate is, you have the bank who wants to make the loan work for you, so you don't really need to know about that. You have the real estate agent, you have the inspection. So even for first timers, everything will be done for you. You just got to take action and just go after it.
Yeah, that's one thing that people, I think, fail to realize is nothing worth having is really easy, right? Let's clarify that. But the process for real estate investing has been simplified and refined to all you have to do is talk to really one person, but let's just say two people, and the entire process will happen around you, right? You speak to the lender. It's in the lender's best interest that you close on the house. So what is the lender going to do? The lender's going to show you all of your financing options. You speak to the realtor. It's in the realtor's best interest that you close on the house. So what's the realtor going to do? They're going to hear your needs and they're going to find the right property for you. All you simply have to do is sit in the back seat and go for a ride.
Just sign that paper free. I don't know why not everybody does it.
Yeah, and I love how you said the word right there, free. I don't know if everybody is aware of this, but how much did you have to pay your realtor out of pocket?
Actually, I got paid because USAA was doing this thing back then when if you use their realtor. So I got a check in the mail. So not only that I'm paying less in rent, not only that I'm building equity, not only that my house is appreciating, but USAA paid me. So I was like, why didn't I do this sooner? It's like
you got paid to use a realtor. That's exactly right. For the buyer, the realtor services are typically 99% of the time free, or you get a check because the seller is the one that pays the realtor's commissions. So it's like, why wouldn't you go out? You got a VA loan with no money down. The realtor doesn't cost you anything. Go out and get a damn house.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's easy to make money that way, and then you become really lethal, right? You become really lethal when you start building a lot of wealth. When you just take that same formula, but then on the front end, you just add a little bit of due diligence, meaning you analyze your deal and you make sure it cash flows, kind of like what Simon was saying about buying the least expensive house and the most expensive neighbor, something with equity, right? So what did that look like? Can you break down some of the numbers for us, and then what you did in it? Did you stay in it for a while? I assume you stayed in it for a while, maybe fix it up while you had it and then sold it after that or rented it out. So what did that look like?
So actually this will help somebody at the beginning. I didn't even run the numbers. I just knew I had to take action. That was my first one. I wasn't worried about making the best deal or being the best real estate investor at the time. I just knew I had to take action and I just went after it. I stayed there for a year and I did nothing to the house. If anything, I just, lived there and collected extra BAH. But after a year, one of my biggest regrets, I sold it because, as a newbie, I kind of panicked. I was like, I'm going to a new duty station. I don't know much. I just took action. Now I'm in it. So I sold it after a year and made some money. And then I was like, I shouldn't have done it, but how can I maximize my next one? So that's where I'm at now.
I think that's probably one of the most understated things. So many people want a home run. And I know me and Dan have spoken about this a ton on the podcast, but it's not about the home run for that first deal. It's simply about just wetting your beak, getting the experience of the process and taking that first step. Because once you take this step, now you understand what it actually looks like. Now you're ready for 2, 3, 4. And like you said, you didn't even run the numbers. And that's actually very similar to my first property. My first property, all I did was make sure that the BAH covered the mortgage. I moved in, I ended up house and whatever, but I didn't know anything about real estate investing.
You just got to secure the foothold. Then you can just worry about flowing through after, but you got to secure the first one first.
That sounds like an 11 Bravo term there. But
so you got the first deal, right? And then you came to a decision point whether you're going to buy or sell, or whether you're going to rent or sell, right? Why did you decide to sell it versus renting? Did you go back and look at those numbers, or was it like, hey, I just don't want to deal with this as an investment, or what did you walk us through that?
Well, I wish I didn't, but I did sell it. And the reason why I sold it, now thinking back, is really, I'm learning as I go along the way. There's levels of intellect that goes to these things, and the more you progress, the more you start refining things, right? So in the beginning, all I was thinking was, I'm not going to make that much cash flow. But if I had known better, I would have been like, but that was free money to begin with. Who cares if I'm only making 100, $200 a month? You know, it's not like bigger pockets when they're making hundreds or thousands of dollars for the deal. But, you know, I was thinking small at the time. So I was like, I'm just going to get rid of it. Just give me a quick money, you know, easy payment. And, you know, for an E4 back then, I made 15, 20K for the sale. I was like, that's kind of how much I get paid for the year. So that's easy money. And then I just knew that I won't touch it, and I just buy another house in my next utilization. So that's how I reconciled with that.
Yeah, I don't think you made a wrong decision at all. So I guess the reason why I was asking that question is because I know that that situation is what pretty much everyone deals with when they PCS, right? And it's a hard decision. Now, some people, you mentioned you're not going to cash flow that much, right? Some people will decide to rent, even though they're going to cash flow $50, or maybe they might be in the negative because they didn't do that due diligence, right? They're just not really thinking through the process, kind of like how you just outlined, right? You're like, hey, you know, maybe it's not worth it to cash flow $100 a month when I can just take $15,000 in cash, because even though you're saying you're cash flowing $100 a month, are you including vacancies in there? Are you including your property management fees in there? Are you including repairs in there? You know what I mean? Or do you have a reserve fund for that investment, right? So a lot of those things service members aren't really thinking of, and then they're driving themselves into a hole. They'll rent that place out. They're saying, hey, you know, my mortgage is $1,000 and I'm renting it for $1,100, so I'm making $100 a month. But then after property management fee, they take their 10%. After everyone, you know, after every expense is taken away, they're really only they're cash flowing in the negative. So every single month they're paying $100, $200, and then maybe there's a vacancy. Now they got to support that mortgage on top of wherever they PCS at. They still got to live it somewhere. You know what I mean? So it's just something to think about. And I like that you kind of thought through that process without really thinking through that process. I mean, I don't know how much you were cash flowing. You said about $100 a month, but I mean, I don't think that's a bad decision at all. You essentially made well over about 15 years worth of cash flow off the 15K, right? So yeah, I think that's a win, right? So I mean, these are some things. These are some things that you should definitely consider if you're listening out there and you're faced with that decision. Hey, do I want to buy, or do I want to sell, or do I want to rent, right? So just because you're renting out a property doesn't mean it's an investment.
Facts.
Yeah.
I love it, man. So you have all this. Let me ask you something, man, because I'm still kind of stuck on this. Like, how long have you been in the military now?
7 years.
Okay. You've been in 7 years. You've always been a little bit savvy with money, man. When you were younger, I'm talking not even in high school, as a child, how was your life introduced to money? You know what I'm saying? How was it spoken about in the household? How did you come about becoming as savvy as you are?
Well, from my parents, I guess. So my dad's the kind of person, you know, who works and just brings home the paycheck kind of guy. And then my mom's is the creative one. You know, I was in Saipan during, you know, in high school or middle school, and the minimum wage was $5. You know, they're bringing in like $300, $400 at most every 2 weeks. And for a family of 5, like, it takes some creativity. So I was like, well, my mom's doing something great, but I got to figure how I can do better. You know, she's working for her money, making it, you know, doing all the stuff, but I got to figure out how my money can work for me so I don't have to worry about it. I guess I'm just lazy. I don't want to work. I want something working for me. So at early age, I was like, well, if I have this money, I can loan it out. And that's how that business started.
I love it, man. You know, so I stole this from somebody, and I don't know who it is, but I say it all the time. I'm ambitiously lazy. I work my ass off so I don't have to work anymore, right? I can hire out whatever I don't want to do. And I always find it fascinating. Jordan Peterson, he's a psychologist. He says that most children learn whatever their behaviors are within their first 7 years of life. Right. And so understanding how you look at money and how other people kind of look at entrepreneurial opportunities, I'm always very curious how their childhood looked. And my mom did something very similar. She was, you know, obviously low income, single parent. She had to stretch her money very far. And I always go back to some of the things that she used to do. And I was like, maybe that's why I look at it like this. So I think that's pretty interesting that you share that story. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Yo, that's awesome, man. So, let's go back to your journey here, right? So you end up selling that property, then you moved
Mhm.
to where you at now? Where did you move after that?
So I went to Fort Polk, Louisiana.
Ugh,
Yep.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
the
Look at
move.
everybody, the whole mood
I,
changed. People stopped
I,
listening. Ugh, they unsubscribing.
no, it was actually an awesome place for me, at least. I found out it's what you make of it, but it's a good place for people who just wants time for themselves. Not a lot of distractions, so you can focus on yourself if that's what you're looking to do.
Okay. So you went off, you got the second property. You went and got second, third, fourth, and you're looking for fifth, right? So throughout that transition, I'm kind of speeding up just a little bit, but
Hmm.
were all of those properties with the VA loan, or did you figure out different ways to structure the deal or finance those deals?
Yeah. So after my first one, I'm just starting on my second and third. When I went to Louisiana, I was like, I'm going to use my VA again, but this time, there's not a lot of choices in Louisiana. So I picked a house that was already in good shape that I won't have to do much. And then the money that I made plus some of my savings, I used that to buy my I guess third, but it was the second since I sold the first one. So I bought my second and third in Louisiana, one with VA, one out of conventional.
Okay. So what made you think to change from the VA to conventional? So you had your VA eligibility back after selling that first property. You went to your second one. I'm assuming you probably had some eligibility after that. When you went conventional, what was the choice there? Or why was that choice? I mean, at that point, a true rental property, right? So
Hmm.
I'm assuming you
Yep.
never lived in that one. So what did that look like?
So after I got settled in that duty station with the VA, the house that I'm living in, I drove every road in Louisiana, and there's not a lot. So I drove every street. I try to learn as much as I can. And my mentality was, okay, what's the biggest market that I have? Okay, DOD civilians who live in Fort Polk and soldiers are coming in and out. Um, and that's the great thing about Louisiana, by the way, is it's not one of those big markets. So the market itself is pretty stable. It doesn't get affected by majority of whatever happens outside of it because Fort Polk is so unique. So I just went and started making offers, and I found this house appraised for 120. I got it for 100 because it was an absentee owner, and I just went with the same realtor. I said, "Hey, I got money. I'm looking to buy two, so I'll use VA." And then she found me my second one. So I made an offer, got accepted. Yeah,
Nice,
Nice. Smooth,
nice.
smooth. Let me
yeah.
ask you something. Let me ask you something. Back when was that one purchased? What year, give or take?
13 to 15, 16, 18.
Okay, so back then when you were putting in the offer, was it a buyer's market still? Were you able to get maybe the seller to cover some of your closing costs and things of
Yeah, oh,
that
yeah.
nature back then? Okay. Yeah, the only
Yep.
reason I bring that up is because I mean, literally, if anybody is looking to purchase now, today,
Hmm. Yeah.
2021, they see that the market has shifted so fast and so greatly
Hmm.
where the buyer can't
Hmm.
get any, seller paid concessions. The buyer has to pay
Yep.
above list price,
Yep.
sometimes above appraisal value if you want to
Yep.
secure it. So the reason I bring that up is because understanding if people who are listening understand what dollar value investing is just in the stock
Hmm.
market, it's you're always putting in the same amount of money for the stock, regardless if the stock is going up or down, because the aggregate of the value is going to increase over time. And you're purchasing at the highs, you're purchasing at the lows. It's the same thing with real estate. You purchased some great opportunities at lows, which are buyer's
Hmm.
market, but you can still find some decent deals, right?
Hmm.
That'll break even or kind of, meet that 1% rule here now at the high, but you have to find a strategy that always works all the way through. And so 2018 was one of those years where everybody won if you bought something, right?
Yep. Yep.
It's a
Yep.
different
Yep.
story now. And so you went
Yep.
from there. Now you continue to buy. When did you buy your last door?
It, actually, it was kind of like my third and fourth. They're kind of closing within a few months out together. So I got my orders to come to Korea unaccompanied. So I was like, okay, I can use this opportunity to buy a house somewhere else with my VA, because it was the same time that the rates were so low. So I was like, what can I do to maximize? Refinance. Now I have like so much money that I have know what to do with. And I have my VA again, like my VA entitlement. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a house in an appreciating market. That way I kind of hedge myself between the cash flowing market for Polk versus a little bit more on the equity side, not appreciation market. So it kind of balanced it out with the VA. So it's like free house again. And then the money that I made from refinancing those two, which is like a lot, I bought another house. That's how I got 4 now. And I have enough money to buy a 5th one. So I'm just kind of snowballing.
Yo, bravo, man. That's awesome. So like you can see if you're listening, right, from the transition from his first property, and he talks about the thoughts and the things that he was doing to like the no analyzing. And now he's talking about, hey, I took advantage of the refinance, got the lower interest rate. And then on top of that, hey, I'm going to hedge myself and go to an appreciating market, because I already know in Fort Polk, I'm assuming it's more of a cash flow market, right? So I'm kind of hedging myself this way. So just listen to the I guess the financial literacy or the savvy, exactly, financial growth as he's, transitioned through these properties, just with 4 properties. I mean, that's awesome, dude. I really, really like that.
Thank you.
And what I'll say is, the one thing I love about this game is to me, it's a game. When I'm looking at you, when I'm seeing your face light up and understanding your background, for you, the thrill is in the process of understanding money and investing. It's not the house. It's the process, right? And so understanding that the game is in the process. Now people will grow. They'll take that journey from becoming a loan shark with the baseball bat to learning how to hedge, their risk between a cash flow versus appreciation market. And I can almost guarantee, once your portfolio begins to scale, as you're doing this creative financing, you're going to have to find another place beyond real estate to park some of that cash flow to hedge against your taxes and things of that nature. So it's about the process. And those individuals that just, I'm getting excited about it because you got me pumped up. Those individuals who love the process of financing, how do I save money? How do I make my money make money? Those are the ones that become successful. So kudos to you for I mean, damn,
thank you.
Literally taking basically nothing and growing 5.
And some people, they always ask, like, how do you do it or what do you do? Because in the beginning, nobody really pays attention. Then they start seeing stuff. And I try to tell them, like, even if I told you everything right now, it won't make sense to you. It probably won't.
Yep.
Just like, I can tell you everything that I could know, and it won't make sense until you're in that process, because your situation is unique. You might make it like 2-3 years faster than I did. Like, it won't make sense to you. Just take the first step. Like I said, secure that foothold and then just deal with it then. And there's so many people that will help you. Like right now that I know how to buy a house, because I bought it Okona's, I was thinking so small. I don't need to be there to buy a house. I can buy anywhere. Like literally, I was limiting myself just because I didn't know. And stuff like that.
I love how you just said, it's like, even if you spewed all the knowledge that you had in your head, it would make no sense to the individual until they went through the process. That's the same concept with all these people that everybody we look at, we think is overnight success. That's absolute bullshit, right? We have been grinding for years. Everybody has been doing the process. Brandon Turner actually just spoke about this not too long ago. He said he did his first keynote speaking event after 10 years of real estate investing and being a podcast host. When he got up there and he did his keynote speech, he only had a little over 100 doors, and he was the least qualified individual in the room, right? He was like, people look at like it's overnight. It's not. As you grow, you start to expose yourself to more, you learn more, and then that's how it really comes. So you gotta love the process, man. It ain't about the end.
It starts to click once you see the actual picture. Like once you're staring at it, I was like, oh, that's what they were talking about. It's like, oh, I've been limiting myself. I'm my biggest enemy. It's because of my mentality. I was thinking so small. I used to think like, okay, I got to find out. I got to be there. You want the control, which I think is, understandable for most. But after you buy your first out of state, out of country, you just like opens up your eyes. You're like, man, I've been thinking small this whole time, It's like,
Yeah, So let's talk about some of these how you're managing your portfolio now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
Oconus, right? You're in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming
Mm-hmm.
you have a family back where are they at?
North Carolina.
Okay, so your family's in North Carolina, right? Okay,
Nice.
definitely got to talk to Mike after this, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
family's in North Carolina, right? But you're still buying properties, and you said you're looking for your fifth, meaning you're about to probably buy another one, right? So, how are you doing that while you're Oconus, and what is that process looking like? And how are you managing your portfolio that you do have? Do you have property managers? Are you self-managing? Are you like, what does that look like?
So I manage everything myself, and I do have a couple of contacts, great people who helps me out. But then that's one thing that I also learned recently. It's like, even if I was there, I probably wouldn't be the one doing those works anyway. So why do I have to be there, right? So for posting stuff, I make sure I take great pictures. I studied up on how to take good pictures, make the room look big. Post it on Facebook because I realize in my market that I'm investing in, that's kind of where everybody goes to. Um, and then I send out the online for Google links, and I vet everybody before I even show them. I give them everybody the same opportunity. I read up on landlord tenant law, so I know what I can and cannot do. And then once I know who I want to pursue with, I have an online background check. So I do my own background check, and then I built relationship while I was living in those properties with contractors. I would ask them, hey, can you come fix this? And if I like their work, I said, hey, would you mind if I put you on my contacts? They were like, most likely they'll be like, okay. So,
That's
and it's
interesting.
pretty easy. It's all the same thing. It's over and over again. After a while, you realize, even though it's not that hard, I think it's still something that a lot of people should do, so you can actually see the value of the property management that you're hiring. Because at least for me, my mentality is, I want to know what. I wouldn't ask you to do something I wouldn't do myself, kind of like the NCO. At the same time, like I know what you're doing if I hire somebody. When I hire somebody, I'm like, I know what I'm looking for because I did it exactly what I'm looking for.
That's super interesting because most people, if you're Oconus or if you're even out of state, right, you're typically using a property manager, but you're saying no, I'm taking it all in house and I'm going to manage that way. I'm going to just manage my list of
Mm-hmm.
contacts, my contractors to go do those things for me. I mean, if it's working out for you, I mean that's great. That's definitely interesting because most people don't typically do that. So managing your contractors, what are some of the things that you've learned being a self-managed, like a property manager? What are some of those things that maybe lessons learned that other people can look out
Mm-hmm.
for that may be trying to do the same thing?
Yeah, so I think for the biggest one in the beginning, the biggest fear was, what if they don't do a great job or do these things? But I found, at least for my market, like you really wouldn't know. So kind of like an OJT, like ask them to fix something simple. If you like how they communicate with you, how they actually do the work, then you hire them. If not, this just the cost of the game. You just
What's
move on. And
what's OJT?
yeah,
Break that down for the audience.
on the job training kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And then from the tenant perspective, right? So what are some of the things that you might have? I mean, you're taking the phone calls and things like that. Are you missing like rent collection? Like go. Can you go over that process? How you're doing it? Being self-managed, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are self-managing, and I'm a part of a Facebook group that like military landlords or something like that, and the
Mm-hmm.
horror stories that I hear on there all the time, it's just, and I've experienced some of that myself as well, because I tried to self-manage and I sucked at it. So I went ahead and
Mm-hmm.
I went ahead and figured that out. So what are some of the
Yeah.
things that from the tenant perspective that you've learned and that you implement, like those systems that help you manage it successfully?
So when you saw me post that thing on Facebook, this past couple of months, I went through a lot of stuff. People see our posts on Facebook, but they don't see the behind story. So like I said, I just bought my fourth house, so that was on the market, and then my family is relocating, so I placed that house on the market, um, and then my second house, the one that I bought off of the not with the VA but with the conventional loan, I had that on lease option, and my tenant broke up, and he was like, I won't be able to pay. So I was so mad because I was dealing with so many stuff, family relocation, new duty station, trying to prove myself here in my new position. So I was so mad. So I just collected myself. I said, okay, I can't react on this like I would normally. So I figured out a way. I said, okay, what can I do to help you? I just made it seem like I was concerned about him. I said, I think it would be best if you just move out. I'm sorry it didn't work out for you and your wife. What can I do to help? And he was like, I won't be able to pay. I said, that's fine. When can you move your household goods so that I can rent it? But the lesson was the conversation. You have to, even though you're feeling some type of way, you have to realize that the other person, your tenant, is going through some stuff as well. And what you say about the property management, I feel like even if I did hire property management, they probably still would have, my property management couldn't stop the divorce. I'd still probably have to deal with it. It's just another person on the way. So I'm happy that I dealt with it. Now I learned some lessons throughout the way. And now I have a tenant. So great tenant.
And I think that's important is whatever happens in life, you can't control it regardless, right?
Mm-hmm.
The property management company is more than, people always look at it as an additional expense. That's really what a lot of beginner investors look at it like. But ultimately, the property management is that peace of mind, right? It's that professional who does it day in and day out, who can obviously 9 times out of 10 do it better than you can, right? They have the systems in place, but ultimately they're there to give that buffer so you can focus on life while somebody else focuses on that investment portfolio. And many people feel different ways. I know I actually know several personal people who manage their own personal properties, right? Put it that way, and they enjoy it, and that's fine. That's fine. But for those who don't necessarily enjoy it, what you just said right there is they can definitely help you out.
Yeah, that's great. So what's the future look like for you? And I mean, I know you're working on that 5th property. What are your goals, and how are you? I mean, obviously you're on a nice trajectory to make that happen. But what is the future like for you?
I'm just taking it, slow, steady, and deliberate. I forgot what law it's called. I think it's called Parkinson's law or whatever, where you fill up your time or resources. Yeah. So I figured I'll just do what I can at the moment, and I, always move forward, establish myself, see if I can improve on anything. If not, just go to the next one. So I'm just gonna continue buying, and hopefully, I only need 4 more houses really 2 more houses to replace my military income. So 1 more after the 5th, but like just a buffer because we never know in the future. If I have 4, I'm okay, but I'm not going to quit Army. I'm just going to continue, but that's kind of like my short-term goal, which is to get 4 more. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that because that is a very hot topic that I hear a lot. When I tell people, hey, I only need X amount of more properties and I've replaced my income, or I'm assuming that like raised some eyebrows, like, huh? What do you mean? Like you're about to replace your income, right? So, and it's all about financial independence, right? Financial freedom. How does that work for you when you say, hey, I need 4 more properties? Can you walk us through some of the math? I mean, you don't got to go specific numbers, but let's say, what is your freedom number? And then also, how do you get to your freedom number? What are those? What does that financial independence look like for you?
So I only have 4, but each houses brings me around $400, $500, or $600 a month. And as an E5, you don't really make that much in your Army anyway. Plus, even with just my base pay or whatever I'm getting paid, I'm saving like a lot of it on the side because I don't spend a lot. So, but just to be safe, that's kind of what I'm looking at for each house that I'm trying to get. When the cash flowing market, I'm looking to get between $400, $500, or $600 a month. So, with 8 properties, that's more than enough to replace my income if I wanted to.
That's awesome. So if you're listening to this, right, easy way, what we call is your freedom number, right? Whatever number it is to make you financially free or for you to reach financial independence. There's a couple different ways to reach financial independence through real estate. The way we do it is by essentially number of doors. And you can easily calculate that by how much you're cash flowing per unit. For the most part, I mean, a decent deal to me looks like about $200 a month per door, right? That's kind of bare minimum. So if you say your freedom number, or what you want to achieve, what you want to achieve, it's let's say $8,000. Let's say you want 100K a year, right? If you that break that down, divided by 12 is about $8,300 a month, right? In order to achieve $8,300 a month, knowing that each door that you buy needs to equal $200, that's about 40. It's about 42 doors. So you need 42 doors in order to make yourself financially independent based off of that $200 a door number. Now, if you go back and you're noticing a lot of your units are cash flowing like Simon's, and they're $400 and $600, and obviously that decreases the number, divide that number by 3, and that's kind of what you're looking at, right? So 12 doors or so. That is a great way, if you have not thought about it before, is to identify what your freedom number is, right? Take your however much you want to make, or however much your yearly cash flow is now, divide that up by 12, and that's how much you need by per month to reach financial independence, right? Because that should cover all of your expenses, right? And then from there, you just figure out a plan to acquire those doors, man. You start taking action like Simon is, and you heard it here. Hey man, I need about 6, 7, 8 doors based off of the cash flow that I've been receiving in order for me to completely replace my income. Now think about that for a second. What would your life look like? How much easier would your life be? How much more opportunity would present itself to you if you were able to completely replace your income and keep your job? Just because you replace your income doesn't mean, because this is passive, remember, just because you replace your income, that doesn't mean that you have to quit, just like Simon's saying. So now he's essentially going to effectively have 2 military paychecks. One's passively, he's just waking up collecting that money, right? And then one he's actively working towards. And he can either take that passive money to build more passive income, or he can just chill and decide to get out of the army whenever he wants to, and spend more time with his family. So just think about that. I think that's so powerful. Just that flexibility and that the opportunity that financial freedom brings. And I think that should definitely be a goal for everyone out there, regardless if you plan on quitting or not working, or if you do work. I mean, it's just the stability that it brings in your life. So yeah, man, kudos to you, dude. Kudos to you. That's awesome.
And one thing I want to highlight is, here in the military community, there's several of us that are trying to give back, right? From Military to Millionaire with Dave Perret, Active Duty Passive Income, ourselves. Every single one of us have the same mantra that you can become a millionaire in the military. And Simon is a perfect example of how 7 years in, if you intend to do 20, he's less than halfway through, and he's damn near matched his paycheck. That's not even including the equity that he has. That's not even including his thrift savings plan if he has it, any other retirement accounts if he has it, his savings account. You could become a net worth millionaire in the military in less than 20 years if you have a dedicated focus to your financial health. And this is a perfect story of how that trajectory starts. And I have no doubt that you'll reach it, in the next 7 years, if you're not already there. I have no idea what your financial situation is, but the resources allocation is beautiful.
And something that I want to put out was, military cash flow, and like you said, active duty passive income. I recently just joined those meetups, and it's one thing to see you guys on YouTube, but if you actually attend those meetups, it gives you that person behind those stories. You're like, oh man, somebody really is doing this kind of things. Like you guys doing bigger, greater things. I went to the active duty passive income. People have houses everywhere, big multi-family. I was like, oh, there's somebody over here. I can see somebody doing this thing. Why can't I do it? So it just fires me up. I'm like, I'm doing small things. I gotta step my game up because this guy is doing it. I gotta do something better.
It goes back to that networking piece, man. Just like, this is a perfect example. The reason why you're on this podcast is because you're in our Military Cashflow Facebook group, because you've been posting, you've been networking, you've been taking action, right? That's the reason why we're on this. And this is the reason why we're able to highlight you and highlight the journey that you're on and the fantastic things that you're doing, man. And now you're talking about going to meet up and network. That's how I met Mike, going to these groups. Five Pillars has a Pints and Properties meetup if you're in North Carolina or you're in Charlotte, soon to be Savannah. So make sure you looking out for that one. But going to these meetups, networking, all these things, the people that you surround yourself with, right? You show me the 5 people you hang out with, or the 5 people that you're most around. I can tell you about yourself without even knowing you, right? So that's a great point, dude. Like the networking and taking action, dude. Those are the 2 main things, man.
Yep.
I love it, man. I love it. Okay, so we talked about a lot. We've covered a lot, but we're running close to time now. So let's talk about, if you had one piece of advice that you can give out to servicemen and women when they're talking about their financial journey, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't be scared. Like I said in the beginning, there's so many resources already available to you. And let's say all you did in the Army was buy one house, free house using your VA, and that's all you did. And all you did in your military career is make sure that house is either rented or paid for. Right? You can spend however you want to spend your paycheck, as long as that house is either rented or paid for. You will retire with an almost paid for house, probably worth way more than you bought it for. And that's all you did in your military career, if that's all you did. And those resources are already available for you.
Damn, I didn't even think about that, because you're right. You could buy one house and in 20 years it'd be damn near paid off. And all of that equity sitting there, oh man.
A bunch of free
cash. If that's all you did in your military career. You can buy the Charger if you want, but
everybody wants it, man. The Charger or the Camaro. Yeah. All right, excellent, man. Okay, so where can people find you? Because now everybody wants to talk to the man, the myth, the legend that's actually doing it, nice, slow, and steady. How can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, my name, Charles Simon McEntee, or on Instagram, Simon_McEntee.
Excellent.
All right, man. Hey, Simon, thank you so much for coming on the show, just dropping knowledge, just dropping gems. Love everything we talked about here. Love your story, your drive and ambition. It's awesome. I'm motivated, man. Hey, it's like 6:30 in the morning here on a Saturday, dude. 6:30 on a Saturday, and we're up and we're talking about some financial literacy, financial independence. We're talking about real estate, dude. Like, woke me up in the morning. I was up at like 5, just waiting, man. Just sitting waiting. So, but thanks so much for coming on the show. Really, really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, if you are listening to this on podcast on the radio waves, please do us a favor and leave us an honest review. We really appreciate that. Leave us a comment. Let us know how we can improve this so we can continue to add value to you. Right? If you're watching this on YouTube, please do us a favor, hit that like button and leave us a comment. Simon's on the, I think I've seen you comment a few times on our YouTube video as well. So, I mean, if you got a question for Simon, please go ahead and leave that comment below and I know he'll answer back. So it's good stuff. Other than that, Mike, you got anything?
Nope. You guys just show us some love, leave reviews, honest 5-star reviews. We want them all, but that's it.
Hey, with that, this is Dan Wynn.
And Mike Glaspie.
Signing off.